10 best sci-fi anime to watch right now. Science fiction anime are often out of this world with their ideas, so today, we're checking out the best sci-fi anime to get hooked on. Science fiction anime are often out of this world when it comes to ideas. They have some of the best world building in anime despite recycling some tried and tested sci-fi tropes like spaceships, mechs, and plots more twisted than octopus wirings. In fact, some of the best anime, those that create trends and legacies Hollywood directors go crazy for, are often set in a sci-fi universe. For that matter, there is no shortage of sci-fi anime. After all, the limit goes beyond the sky when it comes to science fiction, and anything is possible as long as the story and characters are compelling. They can also be perfect for bringing a novice into the anime wonderland. Here are the 10 perfect sci-fi anime you shouldn't miss. Some are old space operas, while others are more recent space oddities. As usual, more and more sci-fi anime have flooded the market ever since this article was first published in 2019. Hence, we just help but add more to this list, some of the newest and freshest titles that you surely cannot miss. In addition to the classics and certified heavyweights listed below, these are our recommendations for the sci-fi anime you cannot miss in your lifetime. 1. Cowboy Bebop. The hit 1999 anime Cowboy Bebop is so popular that it has become synonymous with sci-fi anime. Suffice to say, it's probably the flag bearer of such an anime subgenre. Throughout the years, numerous sci-fi anime have attempted to take the crown, but Cowboy Bebop remains king. Like Trigun, it also combines many genres but in a much smoother way, as if the world of Cowboy Bebop was lived in and vastly diverse. The premise is pretty simple, it's about a ragtag group of hungry bounty hunters trying to get by. Each episode has a self-contained story of its own, told in the perspectives of the 4 main characters of the anime, 5 if you count the dog, Ein. Cowboy Bebop has everything: memorable characters, animation that's better than most anime today, and a great narrative. Not many anime have been able to come close in terms of quality. Not to mention that jazz music. The very first time you hear it, you'll surely be sold. 2. Ghost in the Shell, standalone complex. Hollywood owes a lot to Ghost in the Shell. It was the anime which inspired the Wachowski brothers to create The Matrix, one of the best action and sci-fi films of all time. Of course, its prime inspiration, the Ghost in the Shell anime films, is also no slouch and has become an international sensation. It was one of the strongest cyberpunk, and for that matter, sci-fi, titles in media. Thankfully, it also comes in anime series form, specifically Ghost in the Shell, standalone complex. As usual, it follows the exploits of the android protagonist, Major Motoko Kusanagi, which takes her mission to mission against hackers, cybercriminals, and other androids with an overarching sinister plot eventually unfolding. 3. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Fun fact, Neon Genesis Evangelion was created by the same people who also created Gurren Lagann. However, it actually came before and is an insane puzzle of a plot and story. A race of giant beings whom the humans called angels awakened on Earth and began causing all sorts of mayhem. The only line of defense against them are bio-machine mechs called Evangelion that can only be piloted by temperamental or unstable teenagers. Lovely. The protagonist is the iconically imperfect Shinji Ikari. His father cares little for him, and he's a troubled teenager, which somehow makes him the perfect candidate for an Evangelion. It's hard to actually pinpoint what makes Neon Genesis Evangelion so good. For the most part, it's usually the deep and interesting characters that carry the story. Also, the ending will usually leave you traumatized or perplexed. Pick one, or both. 4. Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann puts most shonen anime to shame. After watching something as heroic, energetic, and inspiring as this, you'd have a hard time feeling anything else from any other shonen anime. It's only 27 episodes long, but that's enough for this sci-fi post-apocalypse anime to last you a lifetime of good memories and motivating quotes that you'll find yourself repeating after watching it. It follows the story of Simon, a simple boy living underground with all the others after a beastman race defeated the humans and forced them to hide. By chance, Simon happened upon an old mech, which became his ticket out of his underground home and into the wasteland. He eventually has to save this wasteland along with his brother and any survivors they find along the way. 5. Trigun. Trigun is one of the oldest sci-fi anime here and is an irreplaceable classic. Why it doesn't rank much higher on this list is due to the fact that it isn't sci-fi exclusively. Moreover, it's actually quite hard to categorize Trigun with any genre other than action. It melds together steampunk, spaghetti western, and sci-fi elements, but it works, and memorably so. The anime chronicles the misadventures of Vash the Stampede, a fugitive and outlaw with a $6 billion bounty on his head for the destruction of the city of July. The problem is, Vash doesn't even remember what he did due to retrograde amnesia. Too bad that doesn't stop bounty hunters from pursuing him, even though he's really a kind person who helps people. 6. Psycho-Pass. If you loved Minority Report, then there's no reason you shouldn't check out Psycho-Pass. It's essentially an anime Minority Report, but involves a less futuristic society in Japan. Still, that doesn't make it any less sci-fi. It's actually categorized as cyberpunk, which pretty much falls in the sci-fi category. Its resemblance to Minority Report lies in the same system of society that the plot revolves around, a calculated assessment that can predict crimes and criminals before they happen. This makes the job of law enforcement personnel a bit easier. They are called enforcers here, and two of them, Shinya Kagami and Akane Tsunemori, have their work cut out for them in this anime. 7. Steins Gate. Originally a video game, Steins Gate was adapted into an anime TV series in 2011. It has no mechs, visitations to other planets, or space battles, but it deals with sci-fi's most convoluted idea ever, time travel. So, if you fancy the kind of plot where anything is possible, but also impossible at the same time, then go ahead with Steins Gate. Oddly enough, the events in the plot that happen in Steins Gate are all due to self-proclaimed mad scientist Rintaro Akabe. He managed to invent a time machine out of a microwave oven. A confusing chain of events soon follow, and Akabe had to undo a lot of the damage he caused just to bring back the woman he loved. 8. Gundam Seed. Being one of the most successful mech toy franchises, Mobile Suit Gundam had to be in this list. There's a lot of shows about them, but Gundam Seed stands out as one of best Mobile Suit Gundam anime, which also comes with decent animation for today's standards. You can bet it has no shortage of lasers, space wars, and teen drama. This time around, the star of the Mobile Suit Gundam anime is Kira Yamato. He's not a human, though, but rather part of a genetically modified superhuman race called Coordinators. As you can imagine, he's good at anything he does, and that includes piloting the signature Strike Gundam. He's also an important figurehead and is a neutralizer in the war caused by the divide between the natural humans and Coordinators. 9. Code Geass. For some who have outgrown the angsty and melodramatic teenage protagonist stereotype, the 2 seasons of Code Geass can be outlandish. Still, back when it was first released, it was among the top anime for its target age group. Code Geass was essentially Death Note, but with sci-fi and a dozen other themes and ideas, including that of Gundams, crammed into what teenagers can consider a masterpiece. The anime took place in an alternate reality where Brit never stopped invading everything and eventually owned the whole world. The main protagonist, Lelich, is British royalty in hiding who was chosen, of course, as a vessel for the weird power called Geass. It has different effects depending on an individual's desires or character. For Lelich, it was the power to hypnotize or control someone. This led to him essentially becoming a masked superhero and leader of the Japanese rebellion against Britannia's tyranny. 10. Eureka 7. A lot of things initially don't make sense in Eureka 7. However, that's a pretty standard beginning to most anime. There's an ongoing war between renegades and a militaristic regime, a girl with special abilities, mechs with hoverboards, and a mouthy boy named Renton Thurston, whom the story usually revolves around with. Oh, it also takes place in the year 12,005, approximately 10,000 years before humanity was forced to move somewhere else due to a weird sentient creature which merged with Earth. Beneath all the absurdity and odd exposition, Eureka 7 is a beautiful and operatic spectacle with great music that usually unfolds during its mech battles. That's it guys for today's video. Make sure to subscribe our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon